We've seen a lot of border, and now we're going to see...
We have seen a lot of border.
We're going to see a bit more lost one.
I am bored of border.
On a bit more border. I think, I could be wrong, I feel like borders... There's always a map that gets played a lot in groups because it sort of allows teams to cover up other maps. And I feel like border might be a little bit of that. I think it might be that, you know, teams are happy to take border, and we're probably going to see a little bit less of it in playoffs.
Absolutely. Bands flying on through. The Ossa, unsurprisingly, focused in towards the go-to archives execute that we're used to seeing on the Armory Archives site upstairs, where you come in from the archives balcony and look to support that with smokes and get the plant down and get out of dodge pretty quick. To KB, an incredibly popular pick throughout the competition so far. And the last two really need no introduction. Valkyrie, I believe, our highest ban rate operator, and Solus, third highest in presence we saw yesterday. Tim, presence being the pick plus ban rate coming through to show just how often they are picked. An incredibly potent operator in the right hands. And clearly both of these sides saying those two need to be off the board as well. We are starting inside of Armory Archives here with Lost One on the defense. Oxygen choosing the attack here on their, well, I suppose not on their map pit, where they chose to start on the attack inside. And here have that opportunity to show what they can do with the Ying being picked up as well. We commented on this a little bit earlier on in the series between SSG and G2. Ying, such a potent execute-based operator that you've really got to have your wits about you if you lost one, looking to be disruptive in the early round. And a Warden is never going to be a bad pick to go along with that as well.
Certainly not. Let's get into it then. It's a game I've been looking forward to. I think yesterday Lost One versus Astralis was a game very much about sort of adaptation, chaos, and just, you know, going in there and getting the kills. This one is fascinating for a different reason, because Oxygen are certainly a more structured side. We saw that in the matchup against Astralis, those contrasting sort of styles, and that's going to be something that we see here again. How well do Oxygen deal with Lost One? They dealt very well with Cyclops, to be fair. You know, they didn't allow any of Cyclops' sort of unpredictable and disruptive nature to shine through, and it could be that they can do the same here.
Absolutely. Dash looking to get cheeky. I spoke about that early disruption needing to be a thing to shut down the threat of the Thinker, and it is in place, but no one being taken out just yet. Oxygen taking a nice slow approach to get to the building. Lots of drone work coming in as well. Dream, I think, has spent the vast majority of the round so far, as you'd expect, on these drones, making sure that his team can work their way forwards. Spotted at least one operator here playing out towards the east side of the stair, well, on the east stairs, out towards the east side of the map. It is Dash, and with that Ying, that Candela coming in alongside the drone, Nuas is using that as a distraction to get in there and bring down Dash.
Nice entry to kick things off for OXG. We're going to have Rise. He's just going to be wedged in behind that mirror, not wanting to go anywhere because he's providing cover across to the top of sort of east stairs and the push that could come through in towards office CCTV as well. And if he can just prevent anybody moving across that area, obviously it's going to help Maya stay in place. He's got the support of Lobin as well. So Lost One is still pretty good here. They don't have any major problems at the minute. OXG have got that opener, but they're still going to have to do some work. Lobin is itching for a fight.
Just that, right. There is work still to be done, but I'm happy with how Oxygen approaches so far. They've got themselves coming in on 3 or 4 different points across the map, and Lobin might almost get himself taken out here. Surely he calls for the assist from the player to his left. There we go. Maya springing into action, cannot find the next as Sweater gets the trade back on the other side. Great response by Oxygen, finding themselves 4v3 here in round 1.
Lobin still searching, seeking, wanting that opportunity. It's not presenting itself just yet though. Sweater, somebody I'd like to see a little bit more out of for OXG. He's just holding his angle for the time being, waiting on that cover, looking to pick Lobin up if he strays that little bit too far. And Sweater's doing a great job at the minute. He's holding him in place. It's taking a man out of the game essentially. Dots will manage to pick up Nuas though, and Lobin is going to take that fight with Sweater if given the opportunity, but he's low health now and he's unlikely to come out on top.
I really like how Oxygen have approached it so far in terms of being slow and steady. Just let Lost One, if they want to be aggressive, let them be aggressive and just adapt and mold around that. My only concern is now that we're down to this final 30 seconds, you can't really afford to be hands-off and letting them take things nice and slow. A move back here coming out of Lost One. Dots in particular moving away from the mirror window inside a fountain as he steps back inside a site. As soon as we get this step in, this vault come in through this window, Dream is a dead man walking. He has the diffuser and they've only got 15 seconds left to play.
Yeah, I don't think they're aware of the position of Dots, but managing to, for they are now, as they see him from half wall, just trying to find that kill. Sweater's getting aggressive. Sweater, it feels like he knew somebody was in small office there. There was a bit of movement, there was a couple of shots.
Oh!
Push forward, Foxy! managing to close out the round for OXG, though. I've got to say that's a little bit of a snatch away from Lost One, who look like they might just have it in the dying seconds there.
Yeah, I really thought there that they were going to hold on. I did wonder where Foxay was, because we had the two pushing in looking for gunfights, and I was like, okay, one has got themselves inside of West Main, one's pushed up a little bit closer in the form of Dream into Office, so where was Foxay rearing his head from? Eventually comes into West Main as well, and once the dust has started to settle on what turned into a 2 versus 1 for the side of Lost One, he collects both, very narrowly catching the Oryx, as Lobin, I think, made it's one of those risky calls that if it pays off, it's amazing. Tried to get a dash away so he was safe in cover to let that timer hit 0. So Oxygen keeping it really down to the wire on the clock, but I think their overall round strategy was very, very intelligent. Lost One, as much as they wanted to find fights, simply were not afforded the pleasure by Oxygen. And also worth noting, actually, you mentioned Sweater in that last round. I think he's only one of 3 or 4 players, or of the players that remain, I think he's 3rd or 4th lowest in the whole competition when it comes to overall rating, his impact, all the rest of it. -13 on KD, -2 on entry, for example. So I am with you that he did have really big boots to step into and fill in the form of Lax, and we said this the other day when we cast these guys. So for me, I do want to see a real step up from him as well. This is the series to do it as well, to guarantee your team first place. He started well so far, but there's a long way to go until we finish this series.
That's it. You know, we're not here and we're not trying to single anybody out or anything, but we focused on Sweater in the first OXG matchup. You know, both Spiff on the side of Astralis and Sweater on the side of OXG, being those new members to the roster. How are they fitting in? How are they doing? How are they performing on their first LAN? And it feels like Sweater's just had a little bit of a struggle. Obviously, there's a lot of work that he could be doing within the team that isn't necessarily measurable. He could well be facilitating. At the end of the day, we can't criticise OXG, in terms of the performance. They're fighting for first place in the group here. So whatever's going on within the team, it's working. But in terms of winning that tournament, you look at it and think, do they just need that extra sort of 5% that it could give them? Now then, Foxy is just going to challenge onto main door. Lobin, I think the damage he's taken there is actually from running through walls. So he's not going to have been caught by any of Fox's shots. He's going to get himself back up to the top of metal, but it allows that little bit of work underneath to start happening from OXG, but also prevents the unpredictability of having the Oryx underneath you.
Again, I just like what we're seeing out of Oxygen once more, with the Nomad on side this time, paying even more respect to Lost One and being prepared for runouts, all the rest of it. Looking to lock down areas of the map with those air jabs as they've worked their way through. So it will stop any nasty surprises. A good nade from below from Nuas onto Maya, who they spotted playing in a similar spot last time around. Fully healed back up. Maybe we'll get a second full juice coming here as well. A second nade comes through. Maya takes a bit of chip damage, but the overheal keeps him at full HP. It's Sweater to start things off, though. Finds Rise, and he's going well so far. Tim at 3-1 across these 2 rounds.
Maya's just wanting that peak. He's going to come head-to-head with Vertical if he does. Vertical needs to be aware of the one off to the right as well. It's not just Maya.
It's so annoying.
That he's fighting. He's going to have to dip away from this. He can't overcommit and does exactly that. Lobin is just like a roaming support player at the minute almost. He's supporting everyone else. In a sense of wherever there's a fight, wherever there's a battle, wherever there's somebody needs backing up, it's Lobin who seems to turn up on the scene ready to put a few bullets down as well. Now, Maya's going to dip out of there, and in a 5 versus 3, I think that's probably a good idea. They need to be thinking about the sides here, otherwise they're going to get overwhelmed. Absolute beauty from Maya to take Dream off the rappel. That's going to be diffused
Maya
as well. Maya goes for another and takes down Sweater, and all of a sudden a 5v3 turns into a 3v3, and OXG could well be on the back foot.
Again, they've started the first 2.5 minutes so well, and it started to fall apart from there a little bit here. It's going to come down to another last-ditch execute in the final 5 seconds as the frags start to fly. Maya makes it 3k from playing inside of the site. Someone's got to stop him. There's one more coming through. Can he connect onto a 4th? Dash gets the one. There's one more coming in. Maya does hit the deck, but Vert has left it a little bit too late here. Still 2 standing. They're going to converge and collapse onto him. This round is done and dusted.
There you go. Lobin it will be to pick up that final kill, and that's going to be Lost One taking their first round, levelling things up. It's much the same as the start that we saw against Astralis consistently yesterday. There's 1-1 after the first couple of rounds, and I think it's probably again something that's going to continue against the North American side here. It's going to be a very close game between these two, and that first couple of rounds doesn't suggest anything different.
No, and again, I can't take it away from Oxygen. I think they've got the right idea in terms of playing it slow and letting Lost One be the ones to try and fight into you. But we're seeing 2 minutes disappear off the clock, and you've still got players trying to shoot out through the break room door. Yep. They're still out there looking for a fight. They're still trying to kill you before you've even got inside the building, and you can't just sit there and let them get away with this. I would rather see Oxygen try and force a fight and try and get a couple of kills early on by, I don't know, pushing in as a 3 or a 4 onto a 2-man play around security room, because all we've really seen so far is them stack up in for 2 versus 2s or 1 versus 1s. The actual kind of team play grouping isn't there. If you're being held at bay by the defenders and you're struggling to make them make something happen, and you've got to take a risk to push your way forwards, I'd rather see them group up as a 3, 4 or even a 5 and just make something happen. It's a bit too passive at the minute. Again, right idea, just not the ideal execution.
Round 3, here it comes. We're going to have a bathroom and teller's site this time for Lost One. We'll see how they're able to keep hold of the top floor when the site isn't directly up there. OXG have actually done quite a good job so far of moving Lost One around, of disrupting the defensive setup and forcing them out of the positions that they've taken up to begin with. So if OXG can continue that, it could be a real positive on this site, because I would expect them then to get the vertical control.
Imagine if we hear a tactical timeout, we might hear some conversations about the aggression being shown or the lack of. You know, again, it's played smart. They've got a game plan that isn't working out. You've got to be able to adapt. For now, at least, starting their work out on the east stairs as always. 2 of them looking to stack over here as well as more as these Roteros start raining on through to help clear away these keeper barriers. It's going to force the Azami away at least temporarily, but as we all know, Dash has the capability to keep on replenishing these keeper barriers as they do recharge throughout the round. No sooner has it been destroyed, is it replaced again on east stairs.
That's it, and you can see, if you look at Dash's player card on the top left there, you get the number 0, and there's a little white ring if you focus in nice and close. It's quite slim, but you'll see it's circling around the 0, and when it reaches the top, that's going to be the timer that allows him another keeper barricade. So the fact that hasn't been destroyed yet, as soon as it gets destroyed now,
great push.
He would have been able to put another one out, but you know what? He won't, because Newers has just shot him in the head.
It's a good read, and we actually saw Sweater avoid committing the Roteros in towards destroying that keeper barrier and forcing the Azami away again, just waiting for when that cross came through from Dash, and sure enough, Newers was waiting on the other side. Much better from Oxygen here. They are forcing plays onto individual players and cutting off their retreat angles back. Much better play. They found themselves 4 kills, and this round looks to be theirs.
I feel like Fox is really feeling it as well today. He's hit a couple of nice shots so far. A beauty through the barricade there. Dream is going to pick up the last one, and that's a very good round from OXG, as you say. Really good problem solving. Yeah. You know, like you say, the man at the top of east stairs, Dash, he just didn't really have an impact on the round and was eventually dealt with. And very, very nice from OXG. You know, nice structured siege, as I would expect to see from them.
Absolutely. It's, for me, one of those things, again, that came down to a little bit of adaptation between the rounds, and this is what's going to thrive in the series. Vents and Workshop then for round 4. We'll see how Lost One fare, because they are the ones now who have found themselves down 2-1 in that first quarter, maybe expecting to sit at 4-2, but maybe kicking themselves, feeling actually there was a round there that we could have found ourselves up 2-1. We'll take it for now and course correct it going into the second, in which case we're on course for a 3-3 half, Tim. We love those.
We love a bit of those, Des. I mean, we had our quickest match ever. I would go as far to say in a best of 3.
Oh, that we've ever cast.
Certainly SI23, it's the quickest we've had.
Well, SSG gave us
in between SSG and G2.
They gave us our quickest series and also the quickest one of the tournament. There was a 7-1-7-0 against W7M.
Yeah. Ooh. Ouch. Yeah, it's quite unusual for us, and I think this one is going to be much closer. Although OXG looking very good at the minute, we would expect them to maybe take a slight advantage on the attack of border, but we'll see how that plays out. If they get a 4-2, I think they'll be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I think same sort of story here as well. Let's see how we do with the EE1D coming in from Sweater as well, bringing along the Lion. So we've got the Nomad and we've got the Lion on side. For me, that just screams crowd control, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, we've mentioned Sweater already. There's a point that I've just noticed that I want to bring up. Obviously, we didn't mention him in a negative way, but we have said we want to see a little bit more of him. 2 out of 3 entry kills so far have gone to Sweater. All 3 have gone to OXG, but Sweater is so far doing very well on the entry and getting in there and giving them that advantage. So props to him on the entry, and hopefully that continues for him. Going to have Dash just opening up an angle to the bottom of East Stairs there out of Tellers. So OXG going to have to drone that out, make sure they're aware of it. They don't want to be falling foul of just dancing down those stairs and getting taken out at the bottom of them. They've also got dots to deal with up in office. Lost one pretty widespread at the minute. It can be good and bad. It wastes a lot of time as they try to clear you out, but you isolate yourself and give them, you know, possibly 2v1 gunfights, for example. So
as we saw.
Be careful.
And that's exactly what we saw in the previous round as well, right? When we had the army of Dash, I believe it was, isolated out on East Stairs. Grenade coming in over the top on towards Sandwich Spot, but not yet able to find anyone who's already backed away by that point. So we are seeing Lost One with the right idea of when to move back, but it's always a question of whether or not Oxygen have identified where that pushback is going to be, or where they're going to try and retreat back towards site and find the cut on people. Looking towards Newers and Fox 8 as well, with 3 frag grenades still in back pocket. There's a lot of soft surfaces to be destroying from below. They've gone fishing a couple of times, but Lost One yet undisturbed, or at least unkilled by those grenades. Disturbed most definitely, but not killed by them.
Newers is low health.
Is it sight, right?
Still trying to push through and find somebody.
I mean, they've got sight.
I mean, he's there. He's there, but nobody's home, Des. He's just sort of got the keys to the front door. He's in charge of things.
And that's why.
Eventually, he's going to get dealt with. Dots managing to close him down from above, but Sweater goes in with a nice kill onto Rise, having that better game that we wanted, Des. 6-2 so far, and becoming instrumental in these OXG pushes. It's currently 4v4, 45 seconds left to go, but Lost One still have vertical control.
I think Sweater knows that Maya's in here, but wasn't expecting Dots to come pushing out there as well. Classic Siege timing moment. A second ago, he was watching that angle. He turns away towards CC and gets punished exactly for that. So even with, as you know, strong as it feels, Oxygen have started getting some control of site, for example, causing a little bit of discomfort for Lost One. Lost One are still in a 4 versus 3, and yet again, Tim, the NA side, or an NA side, looking at Darkster and SSG here when I say that, have got 20 seconds left, and there's still 7 people on the field.
Yep, exactly that, and they're going to have to do a lot of work if they want to try and get this diffuser down. Dream is going to go in, he's stood inside the site, but he's not likely to be able to finish this, I don't think. He's going to be putting the diffuser down, but moving forward, there's the cover coming in from Fox here. They just went the wrong way to try and prevent that plant going down. We've got Dream just trying to crawl out of there to safety at the minute, just trying to sort of turn into water if possible to get himself to any sort of safety. But at this point, 3 versus 1. The kills continue to come. A very nice post plant from OXG.
It's really good, but they've got to get the disabling here for Dash, who's on nearly no HP. As we said, it was a 3 versus 4 for OXG, but they've managed to make it work and won the round. Dragged it back from what looked like the jaws of defeat with a couple of great pushes in and kills. Great stuff for Oxygen. And Lost One here. A little bit rattled and got to find some ideas on how to turn this around.
That's a mistake from Lost One. I think, you know, I've got to call it as that there. The plant's going down in ventilation, pushing into main corridor to bottom metal, was playing into the cover that OXG had. Obviously, you don't know that beforehand, but, you know, they had some top floor presence still. It was a 3v3. Dream should not be going in and being able to just plant the diffuser inside of ventilation like that.
I think the really good read on Oxygen's side to give it to them was, okay, we've killed Rise there. He was the guy that was tasked with playing on West Main. Sure, Dots managed to get across and get another kill, but they almost like rode on him not being present for the play that we saw come out with the execute going down inside of sight. And sure enough, he wasn't there. I think he backed off to go and cover off towards Archives or had gone towards top main. So it was a good read on Oxygen's side that, in fact, they were free to go and make that play. Weren't going to be contested by the vertical holes. So I agree with you, Tim. A bit of a mistake on Lost One's side. Now finding themselves down 3-1. They are, of course, on the defensive side of border. It is considered by many to be an attacker-leaning map for the more competent teams. So Oxygen definitely putting a statement out there. They are one of those more competent teams. We'll see how they play for this upstairs site. Once again, the floor is coming back on side, but Sweater's not the one playing it. This time it's Fox A with Sweater moving over towards playing on the Twitch, bringing along those smoke grenades.
Another presence at the top of East Stairs. Let's see if they can do a better job of holding on to it. It looks like it's going to be Dash on the smoke again, and that's playing in that position. It was Azami last time, but Maya has taken the Azami to cover off elsewhere. OXG going to be working in from the south side for the time being, maybe try and get a bit of East Stairs control, get themselves into CCTV. They haven't really taken too much CCTV control yet as of OXG does. They've sort of allowed it to just sort of stay in the hands of Lost One and worked around it. We've seen it sort of work against them once or twice, but they've been sort of happy enough to not commit too many Many bodies to clear in that up.
Here's the move at the same time as well. You just saw 2 or 3 players of OXG starting to move. Now, let's be careful. I think that's going to take out a friendly drone that was behind it as well, which is a little bit of a shame. Still, they move forwards. Lobin gets the opener. Sweater, the one to fall this time around with those 2 smokes in back pocket. Sorry, one of them left in back pocket, and Lobin converts a second on towards east. That's the kind of couple of opening kills that you want, because now that east side of the map is very largely left open. Dream's got to rotate over to reinforce that side of the map, but it's a Dream start for Lost One. Where is it?
There we go. Proxilon going to be taken down by Vertical. Nobody's going to step up to try and make that challenge more there to prevent the early rush, I would imagine, especially when Dash was playing at the top of East, but he's not now. He's moved away. So he's going to be back deeper into office now and a little bit more safety. So Lost One are pretty comfortable at this point. They've got themselves Fountain, CCTV, Office all under control. They've got Lobin doing Lobin things, roaming around anti-corridor, just as the emergency support.
The supporting entry.
The emergency support entry. And they're pretty comfortable. OXG need to do something to disrupt them. It's going to take a couple. They're going to have to go in and win some gunfights, is the honest truth of it.
I mean, Vert's got a nice and close look for one. There's still one more at 90 though. Hits the deck, trying to avoid get his head taken clean off by Lobin, and finds it as well. 2 kills like that, and they brought things back to a 3 versus 3. Not quite a fully solo play, but 2 very well won gunfights coming out from Vert.
I love that from OXG. The only way for them to really push forward in that 3 versus 5 was to win some gunfights, and Vertical's gone in and done exactly that. He's provided it when they needed it, and now it gives them an opportunity. 34 seconds left to go, so they've still got time. It's not desperate yet, but they do need to get moving, and Lost One have all but fallen back to site. There's one in Fountain, otherwise they're both on site. Now then, Dream surely doesn't get away with this again. He's thinking about the plant. I think he hears the C4 beeping maybe. There you go. He just needs to go a little bit deeper here, and he might actually get away with it, but Rise steps up and takes out the cover. That's an important one. Dream has to go for kills now. There's no way he's going to get this diffuser down. Can't find them, and it's going to be a couple of kills coming at the end for Lost One, and that's going to be a nice defensive round from them.
Really good response to the pre-play C4 as well, just being ready. You know, Dream, I think, with a good read in it as well to get out of dodge. Even with the flashes that he tossed in to try and make a play happen there, I think he was always going to be struggling, because you're flashing out the Warden. Obviously has those specs that he can drop on that can see through smoke, ignore flashes. Nothing you can really do to unsettle him. You need to push in and kill him. But by the looks of it, Oxygen were being forced into quite an unfavourable position there, with West Main being their main point of ingress. Good response from Lost One, with the opportunity here to level things up to 3 and 3. They'll be happy with that defensive half. I imagine Oxygen not too disappointed with the state of a 3-3 half either. But I'm sure a 4-2-1 is obviously far more preferable for them. We'll see how things shape up here. Looking over on the side of Oxygen, 6 frag grenades coming in so far, Tim, with the Sledge, Iana, and the Nook all coming along together, with one of those now being changed away, of course.
There was going to be a lot of explosions there.
I mean, there still are. There's now 4 rather than 2.
There's going to be 2 less. But to be fair, those 2 have been replaced by a whole bunch of Rotero drones. So there's going to be plenty of destruction coming in for OXG. I think OXG, given the way that they've performed in the first half here, are probably going to want a 4-2 out of this. I mean, obviously, everybody wants a 6-0. But I think if they come away with a 3-3, they won't feel like Lost One have got away with it. You know, Lost One have been definitely worth a couple of rounds so far. But you do feel like OXG have had a little bit of an edge, and a 4-2 would be a nice representative of that first half for me.
Looking towards Dots and Rise here as well. Spread across the Mute and the Mozzie. 2 operators that you may well know in tandem are fantastic at blocking any kind of intel gain coming out of Oxygen. And what have Oxygen struggled with, Tim? Well, they've struggled a little bit on the pace in some of these rounds. As we've seen multiple times, we've come down to the last 5 seconds for firefights to really kick off. So a way of forcing that even more is to make sure you've got Mute Jammers and Mozzie Pests scattered around. Not only can they take out the more normal drones, but also can stop the Roteros from getting through as well. So any kind of defensive emplacements that have been set up, bulletproof cameras, for example, Malusi Banshees, it all starts to work for them. 2 quick kills for OXG, Nuers and Vert, both getting themselves on the board.
A nice response to losing that entry battle. Leaves them now in a 4 versus 3, and things are getting more and more difficult for Lost One, and this heads us towards that 4-2 that I suggested that OXG might just be deserving of. We've got 1 player down in sight for Lost One at the minute. There's an opportunity here potentially for OXG to give a bit of focus towards site. They are still concerned obviously about the top floor, the 2 remaining players being in and around Armory and Archives, so OXG have got them pretty well pinned in here across the two floors. There's not really too much widespread danger for them, but Maya's just on a little bit of a lurk out into 90, and if OXG aren't careful, they could get caught out with a little flank, and all of a sudden, they're in a much more level situation.
Put the back in towards site here as well. I'm hoping we're not going to see any more. Well, maybe we will. Chaotic claymores, as we recall from the Koi game, when Koi ran in to try and defuse and two of them died to a claymore that was on the diffuser.
Leon's face just sticks with me.
It's hilarious. It's a real oopsie, and you know it was a big oopsie as well. Foxay goes down here, 3 versus 3 now kicking into effect. Rye's going to C4 off. He has a big commitment to get rid of an air jab as well, so he can step out onto the balcony and look to contest. In comes Dots on the lower side. At the same time, they're trying to push in. Dream expecting one more to be down there, but will be wrong. And now Rise doesn't want to step out, feels a little bit of risk in doing so. So arguably that C4, it was a waste unless he's going to step through.
You do sort of feel that OXG are aware of that. You've got Vert, he's just watching now. I don't know if he maybe, I don't think he had another air jab, so I don't think it will have been replaced. But like you said, there's definitely something keeping Rise at bay, and I think, to be honest, just Vertical's gun at the minute now. Then Maya is in a bad situation, but finds and makes the best of it with a beautiful headshot. Where have we seen that before? I'll tell you where we've seen it. We've seen it on Chalet Basement with headshot after headshot onto BDS. Maya and that Vector can be an absolute demonic force, and what a beautiful response there. A couple of kills coming in on the top floor as well, and lost one, snatching the round in the last 5 seconds.
A lot of that really coming from Maya as well. Killed Dream on the initial drop, and then the second player that followed through to try and take the subsequent gunfight. Killed both, whilst Rise was also running distraction on the upstairs. So again, a really good ending phase there, I feel, to the end of that round. Lost one do balance things up at 3 and 3. Now they're the ones that get to go on the attack. As a reminder, this is their map pick. You would hope to see them walk away as the victors of it, and in good shape to do so, given how that first half went.
Straight away into bathroom and tellers then for OXG. Not going to take the top floor option. Going to be holding on to office. We've already got the Azami of Vertical, just putting some keeper barricades down there, getting the setup ready. We've got Sweater running around making some rotations. All fairly standard stuff so far, including the Maestro cam, which would sometimes be a bulletproof cam, but either way there's usually a cam on that wall that watches through to Workshop. There's going to be an extension into Workshop, and they'll try to hold on to that for as long as possible.
Frostmat's coming out as well for Newers and the Cat Cans. It's a very trap-based comp coming out here with a little bit of info being fed in. I always love seeing how teams approach sites so differently, you know, whether it's based on the heavy intel denial coming out with the Mute and the Mozzie, whether it's leaning into the trap-based play like we've got here. Normally it's Elysian. I think I overheard a pro the other day in one of the elevators in the hotel saying something along the lines of just like, man, why is everyone playing Legion? It's such a free operator. I'm just like, well, that's exactly why they're playing it. Very impactful, as I think we all know, the sound it releases. Mad to think that at one time or another, you used to be able to see all the indicators through the entire map. It used to be absolutely insane. Lost one, pulling the trigger quite early here, inside 40 seconds. Smokes and Candelas coming out, but it appears to be a little bit of a bait as no one has made a move.
Yeah, I'm always unsure about those. I think, you know, trying to bait the team into moving and trying to pick up a kill or two. But if it doesn't really work out, you've blown a lot of utility on that. They've only got one smoke canister left now on the side of the Ying. They do have 2 Candelas still, so it's not the end of the world, but you sort of burn yourself a chance at the execute there, and it's not really come off. So they're going to have to go back to plan A, which is going in and clearing out the top floor, because OXG did not bite on that initial piece of bait that was dangled before them so tantalizingly.
Didn't bite that cherry, Tim, did they?
Jackie does a much better impression of my accent.
She doesn't. Jackie can't do accents.
Jackie does a much better. Honestly, it sounded like I was back at home.
Shut up, Tim. Wall being barricaded off here by the Kiba barrier, just to stop those longer angles working against the side of OXG. Vert's the one who's maybe in a bit of hot bother here as well. Maya's ready to say go in through the soft wall as well, but does he know about the player up close? No, he does not. Has tried to march his way through, expected the Kiba barriers to be gone, but it's simply not the case. And into a Frostman, of course. Someone's going to get caught out by one of those gadgets. So, technically, a 5 versus 3 for the side of Oxygen, making it 5v2. They're making this look pretty easy right now. In comes the swing, and they almost finish them off. 2v4 for Lost One and 50 seconds on the clock.
I don't know what Lobin was doing there. It seemed there was a lot of panic around the Frostmat when he came in. His ADS was just wheeling round everywhere. I think he tried to shoot it as he came in through the window, and it's I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying this. There's like a percentage chance that you don't hit the Frostmat when it's not like a guarantee if you come through the window shooting. So I think maybe he thought he was going to shoot it out, didn't, and then his ADS was just everywhere. But ultimately, he ended up in it either way. So Dash and Dots are our last two remaining. They're going to head downstairs. Trying to find the OXG players that have actually dipped a long, long way away, but somebody's headed back upstairs and is going to be retaking that vertical. Foxy manages to find Dots vertical, finds Dash, and that's going to be first defense going to OXG.
Very cozy first closeout. You can already see the microphone down from the coach here as well. They're having their tactical timeout, so let's shut up for 45 seconds, Tim.
Já? Sim. Tá, então, não, era exatamente isso que o Léo falou. Assim, a gente vai trombar um monte de defesa, exatamente essa, totalmente mal estruturada. Você viu 2 caras fonte, sem mais nem menos, exato. Mano, a gente não quer acelerar. Abre, causa desconforto e começa aqui. Porque senão você nem teria tomado isso aqui de lado, tá ligado? Sim. Ele só vai, abre. Eu lembro que eu falei ontem, ganha mapa, causa desconforto. Abre, vai abrindo. Esses caras vão divar, a gente execa clean. Não precisa de exec tipo de comidas, etc.
Tá bom, ok.
Mano, a abertura do Ace ele já tirava o cara do Zig, já ficava mais confortável.
Eu acho que o Maia ia tomar a mesma kill, porque eu faria avançar.
Cuidado, eles vão repetir essa double.
Não, eu só fui sair.
Não, mas é porque. mas o Maia ele ficou afim pra esperar a Zek, tá ligado? O Maia ele ficou afim pra esperar a Zek, na hora que ele
quebrar, mas acho que minha arma era muito fraca pra quebrar.
É uma casinha que não deu.
I understood that sentence.
Go on.
I didn't.
No, okay. I don't know why I believed you. It's always
yeah, I just learned Portuguese overnight. Yeah, 100%.
Like I said, I know siege related.
I admire that you have such belief in me, Tim.
I know some siege related stuff. So if there was,
oh, you really? You haven't told me that about 5 times this week already.
I'm just saying it's not completely impossible.
Oh, all you ever do is talk about yourself, Tim. God.
Honestly, can you imagine? Must be infuriating to work with me.
It is, but I love it at the same time.
The last one, tactical timeouts. They're always kind of low-key. I think, Notice's got quite a subdued approach. It's very conversational. There's certainly no panic there on the side of Lost One at this point. No. I think, when you're 4-3, that's not a panic timeout. That's not like we need to put the brakes on this. Yeah. I think that's a course correction timeout. Yeah. We're sort of okay here, but I've seen these couple of things, and it could maybe help us win a couple more rounds. So we'll see how they go. They're going to be attacking this time onto Ventilation Workshop. OXG still choosing to keep Armory and Archives in the bank, and they're going to be holding on to bottom floor again. And they've gonna leave bathroom open by the looks of it, so there's going to be a little bit of a presence there as well. They've got the Archives hatch, so that is where they'll cover that rotation from, so they can't just walk straight in. But immediate pressure onto Vent Window. It's going to be opened up at least by Lost One.
Also playing quite heavy around the office side of things here too. It's worth clocking onto. Reinforced off the hatch, electrified the single wall so they can play in that sandwich position. But maybe also look to get away a little bit sooner if things do start to heat up. The fact they've got the magnets on side as well from the Wamai does make it easier to play around office in case there are any grenades coming from Skyward, like where Sweater is playing now. Should be relatively safe and can challenge quite comfortably onto East Stairs without extending all the way out and playing East Stairs directly with something like an Azami, as we've seen a few times before.
Sweater just dumping the goo mines out there, just preventing any push, any rush coming in through the soft breach that has been opened up. Dash is going to get himself established on Archives window. Very careful of the boost spot there. Doesn't want to be getting caught out for anybody looking over the top of the filing cabin. The work is still going on for Lost One then. Halfway through the round, they haven't got themselves in just yet. They're going to be challenged, I think, as soon as they do start pushing into office. So that's going to be the go time for them. They managed to take a few chunks out of Sweater. He needs to be careful because that wall is soft. So they can blast through there now then. That's a big kill. Lobin's got himself inside of sight. Dasher's getting Foxy as well. This is all falling apart very quickly for OXG. It's all up to vertical 1 versus 5.
All it really took, wasn't it? That little flurry to get underway, and they've eliminated them with a flawless round. That's one for the stat. I know Jesse J. Tick was pretty keen earlier looking at round wins after tack timeouts. There's another one for you for the side of Lost One.
Yep, certainly a turnaround. Good performance there. Flawless round. It's about as good as it gets after a tack timeout.
if we compare back to how this played out a lot in the first half, right? We had lost one at every window and doorway looking to contest Oxygen on their entry into the building. This time around, Oxygen have kind of played a little more dug back. They want to play around using the environment, the reinforced walls, the utility they've got down like magnets, just to keep things at bay. But it feels like once we had that little backstab coming in from below, that's when things started to collapse because it opened things up for the side of Lost One. We had flashes coming into Fountain, which led to another kill. That exposed Archives, that led to yet another one on the march through. So it was a real good kind of ability being shown by Lost One to spot the gaps in the armor here, the gaps in the setup, and then strike. We're having kind of another go here as well, as we are on the top floor site this time rather than playing on the downstairs, but I wouldn't be too surprised to see it play out in a relatively similar way with a hold around Office and around Fountain, and potentially a bit of work being done by Lobin on the downstairs with those grenades in back pocket.
10 seconds remaining.
Let's get into it then. Armory and Archives, OXG. I feel like they need to win this, especially after that flawless round. I feel like this could be a turning point for Lost One, and OXG definitely need to be conscious of that. I think if they lose this one, you know, it might be tactical timeout time. They might need to just be having a discussion about what's going on so that it doesn't run itself too far into the ground for them. It's absolutely no surprise to see a 4-4, you know, very hotly a close contested match, and I think that's going to continue not just here on border but across. Now obviously this is Lost One's map pick. We saw it was their map pick yesterday as well. It's a map that they like playing. They're pretty good here. We know that they're good, they're capable, so it would be a big takeaway for OXG to come out with. We haven't had any opening battles just of yet, but we're going to have a little bit of phantom pressure with Sandwich window being opened, Archives window being opened, and then Dots will make a decision as to where he's going.
Absolutely. I think you mentioned the 7-5 loss they had yesterday, but I think it still comes close. It shows that they are happy to play on this map. I'm going to take a look at their pref in a minute and see exactly where Border sits in their kind of order of maps that they enjoy playing. There's no doubt it'll be a sign of what we have next week because the playoffs begin on Monday. It'll be against the big teams, those that have made it out of the groups, for example. We've kind of eliminated those that will be in 5th place of each group. They'll be getting sent home, and then the real business starts when the knockout stages commence.
I think the drone is just, there you go. I was just going to say, I think the drone is going to spot out Dream there.
Ooh,
and as it does, Maya manages to get the kill. Lobin straight up the hatch and into sight. And this is the route that has been taken by Lost One before in terms of getting themselves straight into sight. Now, Lobin goes in and back out as the diffuser goes down. He was just there for
and he gets a second kill.
He's going to be underneath and he's doing work for Lost One at the minute.
Oh, this is disgusting. I love this play. I'll break it down more in a moment, but it's a really smart play they've just made. Now Oxygen have got to try and scramble, and they've got to deal with the reverse vertical being played by the other side. There's the third kill in the round coming in. Lobin finding 2, Rise the third, and they've got to really make it go desperate here. Out they go, trying to find a player if they can, and Lobin supporting again. He's like Spider-Man. He's literally everywhere to be found. Rise onto a second. Can Lobin convert the third? No, he cannot. But there is still a player out on West Main that might be able to support, if not one inside of sight. Oxygen, they've been caught with their pants down, and Lost One has spanked them Red Raw.
I tell you what, that was a very old school Latam play was that one. That was, you know, we talk about, and we haven't talked about it for quite a number of years now, but it used to be the days of the Latam aggression, the Latam fight, you know, and you just expected the crazy plays. That was back to those days.
Having us look in every direction, so I feel like we just need to simplify it. Like I think we just need to keep it simple. We don't need to do anything over the top. We need to make sure that like if we see something, like we knew they were going to do that, like we should have all been closer to sight. Like there wasn't enough support in sight, and Mitch, if you don't have support, like I think you need to play back rather than aggressive.
If we're calling that they're doing an armory rush, you should not be on the fucking armory wall. You need to be like just on top of the desk inside mini or half wall. Like we need to be playing places where they gotta clear us out. Well, not easy places for them to get picks on us.
Yeah.
They were just droning it like crazy. I didn't want to play on soft.
Listen. We got this. Don't overthink it. They're not doing anything crazy, okay? We got it. Let's go. Let's go.
We just gotta like play smart. Let's go bathroom.
Redeemer with some good words there, but I think even if they knew that was coming, it was just so well placed. And they mentioned
it was excellent.
I want to talk about it a bit more because what Lobin has really done there, he hasn't got in to try and really find any kills. His sole job is to hold down small office because they know no one's playing on West. He basically locks down anyone trying to rotate off to contest the player that's going in for the plant. They've got enough cover on the downstairs below the site because Lobin's just pushed through there and made sure it's clear. You know, outside of a really cheeky flank from Oxygen running underneath, getting inside of vents, for example, getting a C4 in below. it just simply wasn't going to happen. So Loban's got up, provided cover for 10 seconds, then dipped straight back down that hatch, opened up the below. Honestly, really beautiful and simple, requiring only 2 operators to make it happen, but they made it look absolutely clinical. You know what it made me think of? The old cartoons when someone who's robbing a bank or something, like a full-on catsuit, like descends down the road, takes the jewel, and gets out while the security guards are talking just in front of it. It felt just like that. Real smash and grab, real clever stuff.
Yeah, it was an interesting point that was made. I think it was Dream who made it there as well in the tactical timeout. He's saying, you know, I was playing in the position I was because they've been drawn in so much. I've been concerned about playing on soft floors. You know, that tells you the level that Lost want to go into here, that, you know, OXG are thinking, having to think about their positioning even based on, you know, am I going to get naded from below? You know, they've got that feeling of discomfort of just playing in and around site, and Lost One have obviously got them a little bit rattled at the minute.
I just love for Loban as well. He didn't really have to take a gunfight then. It was great. He just threw a couple of flashes like that, keep him away, and it worked. It was, great. Again, just really smart and simple. That's one to take into our ranked games, Tim. Me and you can do that together.
Oh, that'll definitely work every time.
Absolutely zero doubt.
None of the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, the point I was making there, like I said, you know, for a long time we've moved away from that LATAM aggression. You know, LATAM are extremely strong strategically, and that was, you know, a big shift that we saw, you know, probably around sort of the end of 2020, particularly. This really big shift, and then they had the dominant year in 2021 particularly. And so I try to hasten to sort of avoid that because it's, you know, there is so much more to LATAM, but it was back to one of those players that we would have seen, you know, from old school MRBR or FaZe or somebody like that, where it's just like, right, you know what, we're just going to absolutely hit the site a minute into the round and go crazy. Dash is going to hit vertical a minute into the round just over, and that's a nice opener.
He heard the wall behind him on Fountain get open up. I don't know if he assumed it was like a friendly opening it up, but it's the sound of an impact striking it from Zofia across the map, and didn't really respond, was too busy trying to line up a keeper barrier, and has paid for it with his life. Good entry coming in, and Sweater's just like, oh, never mind, it's the Gemini that's coming through here anyway. He's going to ignore it for the most part, at least while he's worried about attention coming in from elsewhere. And I think at this point he's starting to feel the heat a little bit, backs away, and more pressure's building up. Maya wins out the one on the Thatcher, down to a 5v3, and Oxygen, even with that timeout here, it's looking a little bit ropey. They'll be down 6 and 4 in a couple of seconds unless Nuas and Dream can go big.
The problem with the timeout and the problem for OXG at the minute is, I think, in all honesty, this result isn't up to them anymore.
No.
Lost One have found their confidence. They are moving at a different pace now. They've gone up a gear, and they are now in charge of their own destiny at this point. And all OXG can really do is hold on and hope that they survive the ride, basically. Now, Nuas is going to come face to face with somebody in a minute. I don't think he knows that the drop has actually come through. He hears the plant going down. Great play from Nuas to get himself a double, and that's going to almost level things up. There we go. Nuas on a triple, and this is what I said. All they can do is hope to hold on, and boy, are they holding on right now.
How have Lost One let this one slip through their fingers? They should have had this one closed out seconds ago, but no. Now it's all down to Dash in this 1 versus 2. The man who started it all off with a kill to find 2 more. Here's one close, but is Nuas the hero? No, it's not. Down he goes, but he doesn't know where the last one is here, Tim. He might be able to work his way through and try and make a plan happen, but let's not forget, Nuas has the ability to feed information here. Dream going to start making his move. He's off on the long road round here. This is a very slow operator, mind you. Can he get away with it? Goes for the spray! How has Dash found that through the soft wall? Unbelievable!
I'm speechless after that round.
Holy cow!
First of all, the play from Nuas to get them back into it. As I said, that, you know, and ultimately proven right that all OXG feel like they can do at the minute with Lost One playing the way they are is to just hold on. Just however you can, hold on to them, because Lost One have gone up a gear. And Nuas does exactly that. Gets himself a triple in sight, puts the diffuser down on the ground, brings it back to a 1v2. But then Dream's just a little bit late to the party, and I'm talking a fraction of a second, half a second sooner, and that diffuser's still going down, and it's a free shot with somebody not fighting back. As it is, Dash knows he has to come off that diffuser, just swing and fire, and hope for the best. And it comes off.
Wow.
I've rarely seen anything like it.
We knew the series was going to entertain. I did not expect that in what looked to be the anything but swing opportunity for Oxygen. It came so close, yet is so far away. 2 rounds remaining here for Oxygen to catch up and force us through to overtime, but lost one. I feel like they're in that commanding position. It is one thing about them that I'm slightly conscious of, and I've observed it throughout the week. There is still that kind of LATAM nature built into the team, and no doubt it comes from the time they spend playing here. Sometimes they are over-aggressive. We saw it in the defensive half a couple of times as well that gave us a 3-3. You know, I think there's got to be that element of being able to pull back and play a little bit more passively, as teams will figure them out eventually. For now, though, it's working wonders. They've got themselves to a point where it's 6-4. But I think if they're really going to go on and win this whole thing, which truthfully, I believe with this roster, they probably could win the SI if they keep on playing the way they are. But it's going to take a little more composure going into next week. A lot of rest tomorrow, a lot of study for Monday, for example. We'll see if they can get there, of course, because not forgetting the winner of this series takes first place and gets that bye into the second round.
They do. There's, as you say, there's going to be a lot of work to be done. There's going to be a lot more challenges to come. You know, we've obviously got our teams that have come out of groups very, very strongly, you know, and are looking very good at the minute. But as I always say, there are always off days for teams, and it's when they can get wins on those days, those are the ones that win tournaments. So there's a long way to go yet. Sweater, so unlucky, just decides to have a little peek around the wall, wasn't quite ready to take the fight. If he'd have been ADS'd in, he maybe gets a kill onto Lobin for free there, but at the minute it just feels like Siege is not smiling on OXG with its timing.
It absolutely is not, no. Absolutely not. Last one then. Drones coming through, and I think they've already seen the player that's inside a break room and hanging out towards CC. If they'd let it alone, this is the sort of time where I'd be saying if the roles were reversed or if the teams were on the opposite side, okay, now you know a player's there and alone, what are you going to do to pinch onto him? So maybe for Lost One, that needs to be the game plan here. If they take this 1 versus 1, it's a little bit gung-ho, a little bit risky on my side, so if you can get in on him together, make it happen. Here comes Lobin trying to work his way up. Do they know about him, though? They must know that someone's worked their way through, but Lobin's looking to capitalize on the chaos. He's inside here, Tim. Does he know about the player on West Main? I'm not 100% sure that he does, but it is Dream. Now going to see his feet, and Dream's down to a slither of HP. Lobin comes back through, but gets ratted out to death by the Alder as it sings on through. It's a 3 versus 1, and Rise, with the opportunity to close this out here and now, has got 45 seconds to work some magic.
Welcome to the Alder. Dream playing in that position on top of the concrete again, able to really hold on for his team there. If Lobin gets that kill, the round probably opens up in a very different way for Lost One. Rise doing everything he can at this point. 30 seconds to go. He's just going to open up that wall and take away a little bit of cover inside of sight at least. But look at OXG. They recognise exactly what the situation is. They've bunkered down immediately. Love to see it from them. This is how they're going to win this round.
Yeah, they shouldn't really miss it. The C4 over the top. Was that? Yep. Well placed as well. I didn't know if it was going the right way there, but well placed. And Oxygen keep themselves going.
Great defense from Oxygen, and a great response, especially. The thing is, after the round before it, Dash sprays through the wall, gets the kill onto Dream. You can be forgiven for that really knocking you as a team. You know, that at that point you start thinking, what can we do to win? You know, it feels like everything's against you. So to come back with a solid round like that is very good from OXG.
Whew. Well, Tim, you said you fancied 3 maps. Do you fancy overtime in all of those 3 maps as well?
Oh, why not?
I mean, it's
we might as well cement ourselves as the to cast the highest number of rounds in the group stage. Why not? Let's go for it.
It's also our last game as well. Like, we're done after this, aren't we? Until Monday.
We are.
Just a little break tomorrow. Get ready for what's going to be a very explosive week. I keep on saying it, but I am genuinely really excited about the reveal panel as well.
Reveal about everything.
I mean, the whole week's going to be great.
I'm very excited about everybody getting here and being at the venue.
Oh, can't wait.
Everything. I love it.
Because obviously we were here in 2020, we cast the group stage, we didn't cast the actual main event. So
Never
for us,
cast
it's going to be
Montreal in the venue.
Yeah, to do in Plasbal, you know, the main place where it all goes down for Siege, the home of Siege almost, is just going to be awesome. So very excited for that, and hopefully...
Can't wait to meet everybody.
And there'll be some fantastic games to go along the way as well. Here we go then, potentially our last round. Once again, we have finished all the way up through regulation, whether it ends 7-5 or 6-6. All 12 will have been completed, pushing it right up to that limit. For now, I imagine we'll see Oxygen playing the same way they have for much of this half. Not looking to challenge at every single doorway in the same sort of style that Lost One would, but at the very least looking to make sure that Lost One know that they are indeed in the map and can give them bother, using more of the environment, playing in behind the reinforcements, any denial they've got as well. That's kind of been their forte in this half.
I think momentum's just a bit of an issue for OXG at the minute. If you know they've had a good round there, they need to double down on it. They haven't won 2 back-to-back since 3 and 4. They've only won 2 rounds out of the last 7. You know, so you've got to wonder how they're going to follow this up now.
Did Dash just get fired at by his own teammate there? I saw the bullets fly in front of his face, and I was like, surely not.
I have a habit of doing that. It's usually out of fear. I see some movement, and I just flick on it.
Terrible. Wouldn't want you in a zombie apocalypse, mate.
To be fair, though,
ammo.
To be fair, it's not a problem because I've got terrible aim. So I usually miss people and then realise that they're not the enemy.
So in that zombie apocalypse, remind me not to give you a gun.
Yeah, I'd be much better.
You'd be a medic.
I was going to say I'd be much better healing and looking after people.
Yeah, I think that sounds pretty reasonable.
I'd be much better.
I'll be the Chaos guy with the machine gun, with the Alder. We'll go for that. Here we go, it's Sweater holding on the downstairs, trying to challenge onto the window, actually coming in on this east side of the map. The others slowly bunching themselves up inside of sight. I'm pretty sure they're not expecting to see another Amari push coming in, but they are aware that there is a lot of focus on getting this window punched out for the attacking side. Understandably, they've got a Ying on side. They want to dump a bunch of Candelas in, some smokes in there, for example, and try and make a hit work. In fact, you can see 3 players currently all grouped up on that north side of the building. The 4th one, I think, is up on the roof, so is also over there with them as well. In fact, to Malira, I can see him on the other side of the map.
They should be aware that Dash has entered here. He did trigger a Gooman as he went in, taken out of his leg now, but it should give them an idea of exactly
Can they
where
get away
this push
safely?
is forming up. There's certainly one has just dropped away. The Legion of Sweater drops himself back down to the ground floor. As you say, the question is, can Vertical and others escape as well? And Lost One are taking ground here, but Vertical's still going nowhere.
I mean, there's 2 of them up here, right? They have to get these 2 out. They're trying to do these quick peeks to figure it out as well. C4 over the top, catches Dash at least a lick, but not quite finishing him off. And do they know about Vert on this angle here? He's looking for the head, but can't find either of them. They're pushing their way in. Missed out on Dash as well. There's still a second up here, but can he get out of this one? They must know that he's pincered into the corner. This 1v1 could be a pretty big deal because it's a gun on either side. They're then down. Find one as well. Make it a second. 2 kills come in for Oxygen. In fact, it's a direct trade, but the big one was on site where Nu has found the kill there too. 3 versus 2. Lost One might have just let this one slip away, and overtime could be upon us.
Certainly might. 15 seconds left to go. They're going to have to get into sight pretty soon. Looking to use some utility to try and help them push forward. Lobin's going in under the cover of smokes, but he's going to trigger a Capcan trap as he goes in. Not ideal. Diffuser is likely to go down. The cover is not there. That's the last couple of kills from Dream. And OXG, they take us to overtime, Des.
Love that from Map 1. Again, we've been saying for the last 2 or 3 days now, this was a series that we were really excited about seeing, and it is not disappointed. Slightly different playstyles coming out from the 2 teams on their defensive sides, and some really good close rounds being pulled out as well. Some dominant ones at that too. Really is a map that's had a little bit of everything. Switching sides though, Lost One on the attack here, Oxygen on the defense. That means Lost One needs to go through 2 attacking rounds.
Not going to be easy for them. Not going to be easy for them. Either side. Both of them playing very well at the minute. Both of them really sort of fighting tooth and nail to keep themselves in this one. We're going to be going to Ventilation and Workshop. If we look at the defensive side for OXG on Ventilation Workshop, they've lost it once, won it once. So we'll see whether they can hold on to it again. It's 50-50 at the minute. It's a very 50-50 match. It was 3-3 both halves. There's just very little to go on by way of anybody having an advantage here. Lost One did a good job of clearing out the top floor. It was just struggled getting Newers out of that corner. He was on concrete. He was going nowhere. Got a couple of kills and really turned things around for OXG.
He did. We spoke about Sweater a bit at the start of the match as well. He's still going strong. I think overall across both sides, it's another one of those team games we keep on talking about, Tim. You know, lowest being, I think, 6 kills I can see. Highest being up to 12. So a good range. Everyone getting involved in what is becoming a very big focus.
Oh, there we go.
Nice little trick coming in as well, just to make sure that jail stays closed up. That gives a bit of comfort hanging around supply and customs as well. So the C4 still becomes an option for Foxay here to play downstairs and hopefully catch someone out when they start to lose control of the room above.
Yep, Raz is long gone, so he's not going to be going back to put another Selma on the wall, I wouldn't imagine. No phantom pressure in towards customs, so like you say, just a bit of comfort for OXG. Sweater still going to be rearranging the layout of the top floor, just running through the walls there. He knows that the push is coming from top east as he sees the wall opened up. It's going to be a concentrated push towards Eastern Archives from Lost One.
Knows he's being shot at there, I imagine him behind the reinforced wall. Yep, safe, otherwise he would have lost his head probably a few seconds prior. Sweater still challenging out towards Fountain and Office as well. This has been a real, a big no man's land in a way between these 2 teams. We've frequently seen a couple of players on Lost One get stacked up on the balcony outside and look to push their way in with grenades coming in towards Fountain side. Here though, Oxygen, given they aren't defending on the upstairs, they are going to drop away, get themselves back down and towards site, happy that they've burnt through about a minute and a half.
Dream on the Alder, we've already seen him do some great work with it so far. He's going to be looking for more Claymores being placed to prevent those flanks.
So annoying.
Tell you what, OXG are going absolutely nowhere from this top floor, and they're burning a lot of time again. It was the issue last time around for Lost One, and if they're not careful, it's going to be the issue again.
Really frustrating, like I say, because you get these keeper barriers just keep on reappearing. They do have the Hibana to help out with this at least, and Maya's trying to find one on their way back through. But now at least one of them still here. They're not going to commit for as long as they did previously. Nua's almost finding a kill on the fadeaway as well. Back down on site, burnt through lots of utility on the side of the attackers. Even with the final little squeeze coming out there from Lobin in what he thought might be a final gunfight, it's simply not going to happen. Great stuff by Oxygen.
It's absolutely fantastic from Nuas and Vertical, is that. You know, if you want to look for Siege play that isn't about kills, that isn't about, you know, stats that you can track necessarily, there you go. 2 minutes wasted by Vertical and Nuas, get themselves back to site, a ton of utility burnt on them as well, and now Lost One have got 30 seconds to get an execute pulled off on a site that's got 5 players defending it.
And they've got, got all the utility as well, right? The Evil Eyes that were still standing, one's now been cleared away. Looking to go for a bit of a drop here, but this could prove to be a little bit ropey because they've got to drop in through this one spot and try and make a plan happen. They're going down, but there's just no cover. Finally it arrives, but Rise, half a second too late there. A second attempt coming in, but it means there's no hatch cover from above. Sweater gets a kill inside his sight. Is that a C4 that almost came out there? I think it was, but almost got shot through. The kills have gone the way of OXG, though. Maya surely can't hold on against them all. They're going to butcher him where he stands. Oxygen with a fantastically clinical defense.
I feel a little bit for Maya then. Gets 2 kills and then just shrinks into the corner thinking, I've got no ammo, what do I do? Trying to switch to the pistol, there's one coming from either side, and he just knew that time was not going to work for him. He just couldn't get himself untangled quickly enough to get back in the fight. Another good round, a very good round from OXG. I really enjoyed watching that round. As I say, it was a great lesson in how to siege without going in and just getting kills. You know, how to play smart, how to outthink your enemy, how to burn time, how to burn utility, how to give them a problem that they just can't solve. And then ultimately it was OXG's choice to drop back. You feel like if they'd wanted to, they could have stayed and carried on, you know, took the fights, maybe got a kill or 2. It was fantastic play from Vertical and Nuas. Really.
How to hold land as well, right? Because again, like you say, they weren't looking to fight for the gunfights. It was just cycling through utility, forcing more out of the attackers, dropping away when you knew that your time had come, and didn't lose anyone in the process. Very smart defense, and one that I'd love to watch back later. Now we get to see what Lost One can do on their defensive side, at least here in overtime. Looking back to that first half, I always remember the aggression they were showing, right? In the early round, looking to poke their heads out of doorways, out of windows, taking fights against OXG at every possible turn, even 2 minutes into the round. I'm not expecting too much of a change here, but I do get the sense that Oxygen will remember how they cracked the East Stairs hold. That was to have Nuas coming in from the north side while someone else pushing from the south, ganging up on players of Lost One, and having the numbers advantage seemed to work so well for them last time. Why change what ain't broken?
Dash just taking a pot shot out towards the ventilation unit. It's not going to get anybody. Switches to the pistol to increase his mobility across that door, and will give himself a little bit of safety at the top of
Good cover, I like this.
That's going to keep him in position for a little while, but the nade may come in and do the...
I love it!
Newers! Absolutely fantastic use of the gadget there. Not only does he take the keeper barricade, he takes the man as well. Absolutely beautiful.
Really good stuff. I mean, it was quite a simple bit of geometry there to bounce it off the keeper barrier, but it was more the exact placement to find the kill, and Dash had no idea it was coming. Dot's now somewhat taking his spot as well. The duo stacking up again to try and hold out a similar area, but as more nades and explosives come in, it feels like he wants to get out of dodge here and keep himself away.
Lobin's trying to pull off one of those plays. You just feel he's ratting around. He's, you know, there you go. That's what he was looking for. Just up and down that balcony, just desperate for his opportunity. Sometimes you can see he's itching for a gunfight. He just wants to get into it. And he picked his moment fantastically there. Level Sing's up at 4-4.
It's on to Sweater as well. The Hibana hard breach taken off the board. Not the end of the world. They do still, of course, have Dream playing on the Ace, his beloved go-to operator. But you've got him in different spaces here, playing up towards the east side, so he's more looking towards getting one onto the single wall that goes through in towards the other site itself, or potentially onto the wall here around Sandwich. With no one playing there, he won't worry about it too much, more looking in towards the site, as you can see here. And I always say, follow the diffuser, follow it in, you'll see exactly what the game plan is going to be, and it starts to feel, Tim, like there's going to be an execute into Archives as we get into these last 60 seconds.
It's going to have to be, by the looks of it. That's where they set up. That's where they've got the diffuser. Newer's going in with the Gemini decoy, just going to spot out the man inside a fountain. They've never really dealt with this mirror window, even in previous rounds. So Dot's in a reasonably strong position at the minute. Just going to be trying to hold off on that push. Just watching for any entrance into Archives as well. Foxy going into storage at the minute, not going to get any joy. Back out he goes, and little challenge from Lobin to the top of these stairs. 30 seconds left to go. OXG just stalling a little bit.
Yeah, it's okay. They've still got their defensive round next as well, where they've looked pretty good across most of this game. Both teams have to be fair to them. It's been a real balanced affair, so you could really see either side taking it away. Dots will know that this is indeed just a Gemini walking in. Otherwise, Gun would be up. A bit of information being fed. A C4 potentially over the top here when the push comes in. But like I said, in these last 60 seconds, you would see a plant coming in inside of Archives. I just fear that it's a little too little, a little too late. Plant attempt is coming in. Newers has got the cross, but can't hold the man. He's got to land headshots every single time that he simply is not going to do. It's going to be a closeout here for Lost One, and Tim will go in all the way to 15 rounds.
We certainly are unable to get it done there. Newers, like you said, he had to hit, instant headshots onto a few pixels. If he does it, great. Dream gets the diffuser down, but just didn't work out for them. But as you say, they get to double down on the defense now.
All right. Who wins it, Tim?
Yeah,
honestly, it feels like
50-50.
It feels like the toss of a coin. Everything has been 50-50 so far. It was 3-3 in each half. It's 1-1 now in overtime. There's just absolutely nothing to separate these two. There's no advantage on defense. There's no advantage on attack. If we have a look at OXG's defenses of Armory and Archives, which is where we're going to go, guess what? It's 50-50. Lost 1-1-1, as we remember, with the plant up, with Lobin up through the hatch. I don't know whether I don't think they'll try that again. They lost one.
They lost one, did they, Tim?
Absolutely, they did lost one. It's anybody's game. Anybody's game.
I can't imagine we'll see a second, air quotes, cheese attempt coming out of Lost One here as well. They'll know that Oxygen will just be... They have their mind on it. They'll remember getting stung by it. They'll remember the tactical timeout afterwards as well. They don't want to go for the same thing again. So they are stepping over to a slightly more, air quotes, conventional comp here. The only challenge being when they play conventional, they obviously did not win the rounds. They've got to try something at least a little bit different here. And by the looks of it for Oxygen, given their operator lineup, Tim, they are really dug in for a war.
Certainly looks like that. We're going to have Kiba barricades stacked on top of each other inside of CCTV. Just trying to make sure that they've got the protection that they need to fight behind. They've got the mirror windows. They've got everything stacked up towards that west side. And I think Lost One may well push towards east. There's a couple of them out there at the minute. It's very spread. It's very spread. I think they're going for maybe a bit of both, a bit of a split push.
Don't blame them either. You can start out that way and always rotate around halfway through the round based on which side is seeing more progress, but as we said equally, at some points, teams could really benefit from sending 4 players or even 5 in one direction and just making it work if you feel you're losing out in your equal kind of man gunfights that you take, the 1v1s, the 2v2s, for example. Then grouping up can be good, but here, I think it's probably the smart choice to have a bit of an overwhelming push. And then Lost One have capitalised on the last few days, and in this game against Oxygen, to be fair, when they just overwhelm the comms and don't give them much time to react.
Very much a team effort from OXG so far. Lowest number of kills is 8, ranging from 9, 11, 15. It's been very, very even across the board. Everybody chipping in, everybody having their moments, and it's been great siege to watch. Vertical's going to get himself out of CCTV for the time being, but as that wall opens, he might just check a choice to peek the reverse ankle. For now, he's going to just block it up with a Kiba barricade, open up a little at the side of it, see if he can catch anybody as he's doing so halfway through the round. And OXG, they're not for moving.
Nah, dug in well, because they really want to protect the shield on 90 as well, as it lets Vert step out and challenge down and towards the east stairs. He has a lot of control on that 90 hallway itself with the shield, the fountain rotate, for example. So many things working in his favour, and Lost One really need to crack that open, but I'm just not convinced they have at this point, Tim. They've tried to step forward and see how they can dismantle what looks to be a very intricate setup coming out of OXG, and Sweater comes out. Not 100% sure that's the play when you're already seeing Lost One struggle on time here.
Second time that he's been caught out going out of there. He didn't die last time, but but he didn't find the kill. Second one comes in, as you say, 5 versus 3, 54 seconds left to go. Dream manages to get one inside of sight, and there's another for Nuez, and that's going to level things up. 3 versus 3. Dream really needed to find that, but doesn't get shut down by Lobin, and that leaves us now 3 versus 2, but Dash is down. 2 versus 2 effectively. Lobin low health. This is definitely winnable for either of these teams. Rise is in a position to put the diffuser down. It's all going to be up to the cover coming in from Lobin, and he's got the site cut in half, Des.
He's already had a mega round as well, found 2 kills for himself. 2 more would be wonderful to add to the tally. As Nuez coming up against 1. Out comes the shotgun. It's the ITA doing the work. Lobin's down to a sliver of HP. Dash is off down elsewhere, and already Lobin has absolutely legged it. He's a mile away at this point, but there's no diffuser going down, so they know it's a 1 versus 2. There's no diffuse coming in. Here we go, trying to make it happen. Nuez drops low as well, leaves his teammate in a 1v1. You can see his head just take it out. We're down to 20 seconds, and Nuez might have just made a bit of a poor call in dropping away. Has to win the 1 versus 1, but Lobin is long gone. In comes the defuse attempt as well. He's got to sprint for it though. He's got to stop his man right here, right now. He's pulled off. They've lost it at this point. It came so close, but Lobin, an absolute masterclass of a round, is going to win it for loss 1.
An agonising loss on border for OXG, and loss 1